Welcome back to the channel, guys. Today I've got a pretty unique mower that I want to talk to you about, and it's an Echo, and it's a two-stroke, and it's a push mower. I didn't know Echo made two-stroke mowers. Well, they did for 1 year. Now they all make Chinese battery-powered push mowers that you buy at Lowe's. But back in the day, back in 1989, 1 year, Echo made their own mower. It was gray and white, and it was called the LM212. It has to be by far the lightest mower that I have ever had, and I've had several mowers in this shop, and this is one that I think is super neat. I came across it on Marketplace, and I had to get it because I didn't know much about it, and started researching, realizing that parts are impossible to find for it. That's the first part. The second part is I don't think they made more than a few hundred of them. This one I have is serial number 49. So this one, the mower that I have here has a double-digit serial number. So I can tell you that they probably did not make very many of them, and this is definitely one of the earliest that probably exists. There were other versions of this mower in a push mower or a bagger, and a dedicated bagger, but the other models were called an LM212 PB, as in push bagger, LM204 self-propelled side discharge, LM204P push side discharge. There was an earlier version of it called the LMC212, which used an old Jacobson deck that's been around since the late 60s, 70s, early 80s. And it's the same engine though. The engine is called an MV14-B1ZO, and it is a two-cycle engine, and I'm assuming it's made in Japan, but I can't find any markings on it that would indicate otherwise. But this mower, if you look very closely, it bears a striking resemblance to the Jacobson and Snapper decks of the same vintage, and that's not by accident. That's exactly what this is, but with Echo's own engine, as I said, called the MV14. So this mower uses the same Jacobson deck, handlebars, wheels, even the back side that you've seen, and bag. But it just makes it insanely lightweight because of this engine that they used. It weighs nearly nothing. Just, I have to guess it's less than 20 pounds for this engine. This engine was also used on an older variant, as I said, called the LMC212. And there's other mowers that use that deck, Ransomes, Jacobson Snapper, Sensation, and others, and that's for another video. But anyway, it's called the LMC212 for that one, but that was a rear discharge. So as we talk about the LM212, parts, at absolutely surprise of no one, are insanely hard to come by for this engine. And you can at least find cables, blades, things like that, but the cables are not unique to this engine or to this mower. They're just a Jacobson, which Snapper is probably supporting that. It's a very low serial number mower that I'm actually considering restoring, but I think I'm gonna see if there's a collector out there that may be interested in doing it, just because I have too many projects. I've got other mowers that I've restored. I'm gonna go through it, clean the carb, grease the transmission, the shafts, and send it on to the next owner. But they did offer this mower with a heavy-duty air filter option, as you can see in the photo on your screen here. And I had attempted to do that to this one, but some of those parts are no longer available, so I'm not gonna be able to do it. I did, however, come across a brand new old stock engine from a shop that had shut down in Oklahoma, and I picked it up for $100. And there was also a guy in Canada that was parting one out that had a bad cylinder head, so I bought everything that I absolutely could from the guy. It had a cracked deck and a bad cylinder head, so I really couldn't get that, but the parts that I were really after were like the fuel tank, the carb, etc. So at least this mower will be able to live on for many more years. So I hope it ends up in good hands, and it really is a oddity in this mower space. Let me know in the comments, have you guys ever seen a mower like this? Did you know this mower existed? There's very little out there on this. There's a couple forums that have a little bit of information about these, where people are like, oh, I remember I bought one back in 1988 or what, you know. But there's very little information on the internet on these mowers because they were not very well known. Obviously, they didn't sell well, but it's cool to see, and I just thought I'd share and maybe get a kick out of it. So thanks again for watching, guys, and we'll see you soon.